And all the resource persons of today's session, Mr. P. Gautam Vinod, guest of honor, Kritika, and Dr. Rohan D. Costa, members of the organizing committee and Physical Education Foundation of India, and technical committee and dear participants. Welcome to the fourth day of National Level Faculty Development Program on sports training, coaching, and recent changes in rules and regulations in Kabaddi, basketball, judo, and volleyball to be held from 10th to 16th September 2020, organized by Maharani College Cluster University in association with Physical Education Foundation of India, Karnataka chapter. Today the session is focused on recent changes in rules and regulations in basketball, and the resource person is none other than Mr. P. Gautam Vinod, who is an international basketball coach, and the guest of honor is Miss Kritika, international basketball player and winner of two awards, that is Ekalavya and Karnataka Olympic Association Award. The moderator of the day is Dr. Rohan Di Costa, Physical Education Director, Government First Grade College, Holanur. Holanur. Dr. Rohan Di Costa has worked as a review committee member for the State Physical Education textbook. He has represented Coimbatore University football team in the inter-university tournament. I now request Dr. Rohan Di Costa to take over and introduce the guest to the participants. Please, sir.
Thank you, madam. Achievement seems to be connected with action. Successful men and women keep moving and inspiring. Good evening to one and all present here. With a deep sense of exhilaration and delectation, I, Dr. Rohan Di Costa, feel humbled and honored to be a part of faculty development program organized by Maharani Cluster University, Bangalore and BEFI, Karnataka. It's my great privilege to extend a warm welcome to honorable dignitaries. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to extend a warm welcome to Ms. Kritika and Mr. Vinod PG. PG Vinod sir has done his BTech, MBA and Diploma in Sports Coaching at Netaji Subhash Chandra National Institute of Sports, Patiala. He has received many awards in the field of coaching. He worked as an assistant coach for 24th FIBA Asia Under-18 Boys Championship held at Dhaka, Bangladesh in the year 2016, and the team won the gold medal. He was the head coach for Unified Men Basketball Team at World Summer Games in Special Olympics held at Abu Dhabi in the year 2019 and won the silver medal. He is a qualified FIBA WABC coaching certification course level 1, B panel referee in Basketball Federation of India, represented Pondicherry School Nationals basketball team twice, participated in South Zone Inter-University for 4 times. At present, he is working as an assistant basketball coach at Sai National Institute of Sports, Patiala since 2016. A hearty welcome to you, respected sir. Success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looked for it. I feel honored and delighted to talk about a successful woman, that is Miss Kritika. Dear madam, we have a great sense of high regard and appreciation for your achievements, which will put us on the wings and wheels of progress and perfection. I am specially privileged to extend a warm welcome to the most dynamic personality, Miss Kritika, international basketball player and Ekalavya awardee. She represented our country in Asian Games held at Incheon, Korea in 2014, member of senior women's national team in International Jones Cup held at Chinese Taipei in the year 2011, member of senior Asian basketball championship held at Japan in the year 2011, represented India as a member of under 18 women's team in the year 2006. Captain the Karnataka women team in the senior national tournament from 2006 to 2015. Proud recipient of privilegious Ekalavya Award for Excellence in Basketball in the year 2012, awarded the Best Sports Person of the Year 2008 by Karnataka Olympic Association, awarded the Best Player in different basketball tournaments from 2007 to 2017. Ms. Kritika has not turned up, maybe due to her busy schedule, so let's continue. Now the session on recent changes in rules and regulation in basketball commences. Vinod sir, kindly take over.
Thank you, Rohan sir, for your kind words and heart-warming
Once again, welcome, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Okay, so I welcome all the esteemed panelists here, and I thank this opportunity to Maharani University for inviting me to present a guest lecture on recent rules and changes in basketball. So let me move on to the presentation.
Join.
I hope everyone can see it. Okay. So today is second day of basketball session in National Level Faculty Development Program. So today's session is on recent changes in rules and regulation in basketball. So this is a very big topic when it comes to rules in basketball. Like we have generally 8 rules. So rule 1 starting the game. Rule 2 is playing court and equipments. Rule 3 is the teams. Rule 4 is playing regulation. Rule 5 is violations. Rule 6 is on fouls. Rule 7 is on general provision. Rule 8 is on table official, commissioner, duties and pass. So it has been divided into 50 articles in each of this. So totally we have 8 rules and 50 articles. So I am going to talk today on recent rule changes. A recent rule change happened in 2020. So it will not be fair enough if I cover only the rule change that happened in 2020. So I have taken one step backward to cover the rule changes that happened in 2018, and I'm going to cover rules that changed in 2020 also. So today it is much of an interactive session. So once I complete my session, I hope I'm expecting a lot of questions from the viewers' point. So let us hope for the best. All right. So first rule change that happened in 2018 was regarding the terminology. This rule change happened because the terminologies that is used worldwide are not similar, weren't similar. So to make this uniform, we have changed a few terminologies. That is, earlier we called it as a period. Now it will be called as a quarter. And earlier we called extra period. When 40 minutes of playing time gets over, we call it as an extra period in case of tie. Now it is called as an overtime. Next one regarding the uniforms. So there was a lot of confusions. The accessories used in the uniform were not similar. Then FIBA came to a decision that everything should be either black or white. So it created a lot of confusion, and uniformity had a problem because I am wearing a dark uniform and having a white wristband or headgear. It created some sort of confusion. So FIBA finally came to a conclusion that a team can wear any accessories and uniform of same dominant color, same color. So if I am wearing, I have 3 options as a team member now. Whether I can wear white color accessory, black color accessory, or any color that should be uniform to all the playing members. So my jersey color is dark, that is black. And if I am wearing pink color wristband, that my entire team member should be wearing accessories only with the pink color. There shouldn't be any change. That is a rule change that has been happened. So here again there is a confusion regarding accessories and protecting equipments. Like knee band, I cannot get a knee band of pink color, so it can be of any color. The protective items, it can be of any color. The accessories, it should be of same dominant color. So that is a rule change that happened. Okay. Then in throwing, what happened is to prevent throw-in violation delay, whenever in the last 2 minutes of the game, that is in the 4th period or in the extra time, last 2 minutes of the extra time, whenever often a referee or official handovers the ball to the player taking the throw-in, he just waves his hand, telling that the defensive player should not cross this plane or from inside the court, so that if after this warning, if a player crosses that plane, that is a violation and he can be charged a technical foul against him. Dribbling, okay. So dribbling, there is one deleted thing, that is deliberately throwing it against the backboard. Okay. So earlier, what happened is, I will just narrate it with an example. So earlier, if I am completing my dribble, or if I am in the act of shooting, someone come close to me, I am not able to shoot with a clear aim. What I do is, I just throw the ball in air. I just throw it against the backboard. I can catch the ball in air and shoot. That was the earlier rule, but now they have made it easier that I can catch the ball in air, I can come down, and then I can go for shoot. Earlier, coming down with the ball was a violation. Now we can come down with the ball and then we can go for shoot or pass, whatever it is. So that means they want to say that dribbling the ball, throwing the ball against the backboard is not a dribble. They don't consider this as a dribble. That is what they meant in this. Okay. Then come to 24-second violation. 24 seconds. 24 seconds. What they see is like to make the game faster, like to give a fair opportunity to the defensive team. They have made some few changes. It states that whenever the shot clock will be resetted, any foul or violation that happens, any foul happens during the game of play, if it happens in the backcourt, if this foul happens in the backcourt, the shot clock will be reset to 24 seconds. If the same foul happens in the front court, there are two options. If the shot clock shows less than 14 seconds, it will be reset to 14 seconds. If it shows more than 14 seconds, it will be continued from the same time. That is, whatever the shot clock shows, the shot clock will be continuing from the same time. Okay, that is what they have told here also. Okay, so when the game clock shows 2 minutes or less in the fourth quarter or in the overtime, the team that is entitled for the possession of the ball from its backcourt, what happens here is that whenever the game clock shows less than 2 minutes in the fourth quarter or in an extra period, overtime, what happens is, like the team which is entitled for the ball possession demands a timeout. At that time, that particular team coach is given an option whether he wants the ball in his backcourt or in front court, provided the ball is in backcourt. Okay. At that time, the coach has an option whether he can opt the ball in his backcourt or in his front court. If he opts the ball in its from his front court, the time will be resetted to 14 seconds. Okay. If he decides to opt the ball from his backcourt, the shot clock will be 24 seconds if it is a new ball position, or it will be continuing from the same time when the game was stopped. If a foul happens, that will be reset to 24 seconds. If it is in out of bounds play, then the time will be continued from the same time when it was stopped. Then comes on the technical foul. Technical foul, earlier, the penalty for technical foul was 1 free throw plus ball possession. Now, they have changed it to only ball possession. Okay, they don't consider, they won't give, there is only free throw, 1 free throw. There is no more ball possession. So earlier it was 1 free throw plus ball possession. Now it is only 1 free throw. The ball possession has been taken off. Then comes fighting situation. Whenever during a fight situation, any player or any member of the team who is on the team bench area enters the playing court, they will be disqualified. So this is the fighting rule. So they will be disqualified according to the article D. Disqualifying foul, they will be disqualified. Then throw in after an unsportsmanlike foul or disqualifying foul. So earlier, whenever a disqualifying foul or a unsportsmanlike foul is called, the penalty was 2 free throw plus ball possession. And now also it is the same, 2 free throw plus ball possession. But the only change that happened here is the ball position. Earlier it was from the center line extended opposite that of scoring table. Okay. Now they have shifted that to front court throw in line. Okay. Earlier it was center line extended opposite to scoring table. Now they have changed that to ball position will be given from the throw-in line of the front court. Okay, and the shot clock will be reset to 14 seconds. So this is the change zone. And in score sheet, whenever a free throw is called, like whenever a technical foul is called against the coach, then a technical foul is penalized against the coach for a team bench area person involving team bench area person. At that time, coach will be charged a technical foul with representing free throws with B1 or B2. Okay. Then there is one more change in the equipment, that is like you can see here the shot clock. Earlier it was here, only here. Okay, so it was vertically above the scoreboard. Now at the higher level, they have changed. They have kept 2 shot clocks so that the spectators can view the shot clock in a clear way. So that is the equipment change that they have done. And one more thing, the perimeter, like the board is the top level games. The board should be equipped with 2 lights. One is red and other one is yellow. The red light indicates end of playing time, and the yellow light indicates end of shot clock. Okay. Now we are moving on to the rule changes. Actually, I left one rule in 2018 change, that is double foul. I have not taken that purposely. I'll tell you why in the 2020 rules. Next, we are moving on to rule changes that happened in 2020. That will be valid from 1st of October. So it's some 20 days left for that to be amended. The first one is regarding players' injury. So they have added a word assistance in this. Okay, what that assistance mean is, like earlier, whenever the actual rule, during an injury, what the rule says is, whenever a player receives the treatment, he should be substituted. So when a player gets injured, immediately a coach, assistant coach, or any team member may enter the playing court to assist the player only with the permission of official, whereas the doctor, he can enter directly without seeking permission of the official, considering the injury in mind, considering the severeness of the injury in mind. Okay. So when the rule says that when a player receives treatment, he should be substituted. So the coaches, they have taken advantage. They are taking advantage of this rule, saying that we are not given any treatment to them. We have just came to see what happened. Okay. So now for this, they have added a word called assistance, which means any member from the team bench area enters the playing court to attend that injured player. That means he has received treatment. This is what they consider, and he must be substituted. This is what this says. It's the same thing, unless or until that team is reduced to less than 5 playing members. At that time, we can consider not to substitute him. Okay, this also reflects in correctable error, as injured player has to enter once a correctable error is found. So like this, the word assistance being is used here. Okay, then so there was, earlier in the rules, there was no clear word representation stating how an act of shooting is done. Okay, so hello, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So in the act of shooting, so in this here, they have clarified very clearly what is act of shooting. Okay, So act of shooting is normally when a player receives the ball and his intention is to go for a legal attempt. Legal attempt, that means raising the ball in its upward direction. So that they have mentioned it here. Okay. One is act of shooting in a stationary mode, that is making a set shot or a jump shot. This is I receive the ball and I go in the upward movement for an act of shooting. When I move the ball to upwards and make a clear attempt, showing indicating that I am going for a shot, that means I am in the act of shooting. Any foul that happens during this course of action is said to be the foul is said to be happening at the act of shooting, and he will be receiving free throws accordingly as per the rule says. Okay, when in the act of moving, when at the time of a layup shot, this movement starts right from I take a legal steps by collecting the ball. This act of shooting continues. Okay, once the foul is hit and after my continuous motion, if I pass the ball, it is no longer considered as act of shooting, since I have not attempted a shot. I've just passed the ball to my teammate. So this is what is being explained here. Same is explained here. Okay. Next come a cylindrical position. Okay. So this is a very important change that is being made in 2020. So basically, this 2020 rules can be divided into three actually. One is major change, minor change, and additional information. So this is one of the major change that happened in 2020. Okay. So what they have included here is, earlier we had a cylindrical principle only for the defensive players. Okay. So we had cylindrical principle, the principle of verticality, everything we had only for a defensive player. Now, considering the fact offensive players are gaining more advantage every time when a contact happens, only the defensive player is being penalized for their actions. So considering everything in mind, it's when a contact happens, either defensive player or the offensive player is responsible for the contact. In a few occasions, there are both offensive player and the defensive player are responsible for the contact. So earlier, every time the defensive player was getting penalized for his action. So it was essential to identify an offensive player cylinder so that each and every player, both offense and defense, get equal opportunity to play the ball in a fair way. So considering all these things, they have made changes in the offensive player cylinder also. So you can see the picture very clearly. So a defensive player is in his defensive stance right from toe to his head. His toe is pointing forward or tilting slightly sidewards, and knees bent. Okay, and his feet, he's little wider than his shoulder width apart. His feet are little wider than his shoulder width apart, and torso facing front, and arms little bit wider to that shoulder width. So his cylinder starts from palm in the front, okay, and to the ceiling in the top, and back to his butt, okay, and the front end of the toe. So this is the limit, a cylinder limit of a defensive player. Similarly, when you can see the image of an offensive player who is holding his ball towards his hip, we call this as a dribbling stance. We call this as a dribbling stance. He is in a dribbling stance. At this time, whatever this body is covered, that is his cylinder. So any defensive player entering the offensive cylinder will be penalized for his defensive action, and any offensive player entering into defensive cylinder will be penalized as a charging foul for his offensive action. So this is the rule that is being specified here. And in the act of shooting, when it comes to act of shooting, the contact principle also says this act of shooting also defines, during the act of shooting, you should be in your cylindrical limit. Okay, if I extend my leg and I make a contact with a defensive player, it will be a offensive foul. Okay, so we have to respect the cylindrical, that is the space allotted to the defensive player as well as the offensive player. When any one of the offense or defense enter into opponent's cylinder, he will be charged for his illegal actions. So that is what all about the contact principle says. Okay, so double foul. As I told you earlier, I didn't mention anything regarding double foul in the rule change that happened in 2018. What happened is in 2018, they made changes in the double foul that created a lot of confusion. That means whenever a team, like when the team is having equal penalty situation, that is, at one A team is having 2 team foul and B team is having more than 5 team foul. They are in team foul penalty situation. At this time, we cannot call any. First, we have to understand what is a double foul. A double foul is a foul which happens between 2 opponents at approximately same time. Both opponents fouling on each other. Okay. So when this happens, we call that as a double foul. So earlier scenario in 2018, they changed like that both the teams should have equal penalties. That means both the team foul should be equal. Either both the team foul should be less than 4 or it should be more than 4. When the difference happens, we cannot call a double foul. We can only call, we can go as per the special situation, that is which foul happened first. So what happened is this created a lot of confusion to the official and they stopped calling that double foul. Okay. So again in 2020, what they made is they have gone one step back. Okay. So they have nullified the rule change that happened in 2018. They have gone back to the earlier amendment that happened in 2016. So now there is few more changes also in this. See, to give a double foul, we have to consider 4 criteria. The first criteria is both fouls are player foul. Okay, so both should be a player foul. Okay, it's not one coming from bench and one coming from inside playing court. Okay, it should be both player foul and both fouls should involve physical contact. Okay, so it's not like I abuse him verbally and he makes a physical contact. It can be called as a double foul. No, both should be it should be a physical contact. Okay, both fouls are between the two same opponent fouling on each other. So it clearly states that I am an offensive player. I am being guarded by a defensive player. I hit the defensive player. He hit me back. This happens approximately same time. Then only we can call a double foul. It's not that I hit a defensive player and somewhere or the other place, some other defensive player hit an offensive player. We cannot call this as a double foul, but it is a multiple foul. Okay. And the last criteria is both fouls are either to personal foul or combination of unsportsman and disqualifying foul. Okay. So to call a double foul, the last criteria is the foul which happened between me and my defensive player, that means my opponent. It should be both of same category. We both should have done a personal sort of foul, or we both should have done either unsportsmanlike foul or disqualifying foul. In that criteria, in that situation, we can call a double foul. Okay. Next comes penalty for the double foul. Okay. Whenever a double foul is called, we never offer a free throw. Okay. No free throw is awarded during a double foul. Okay. So when we call a double foul, there are 3 conditions. Next comes how to resume the game after we give a double foul. Okay. So there are 3 situations. Approximately when the double foul was called, any valid field goal is made or last free throw is made, the ball will be given to the opponent team, that is defensive team. Okay. If any team had control of the ball, okay, if any team had control of the ball at the time when the double foul was called, the ball will be given to the same team. Okay. And the last situation is if both the team didn't have any control of the ball, at that time it is a jump ball situation. So these are the 3 criteria how to resume the game after a double foul is called. Okay. Then coming on to unsportsmanlike fouls. Okay. So here they have clearly stated on criteria 3. Okay. So the criteria 3 says that when during a fast break, when there is no one between the offensive player and the ring, any contact that happens from lateral or from behind, it will be called as an unsportsmanlike foul. So I will just give an example for this. Like I being an offensive player, I am controlling the ball over the perimeter from center. Okay. So my opponent deflects my ball. Okay. He deflects my ball and I lose control of the ball. Okay. So at that time, he defensive player tried to get control of the ball, and what I do is I make a illegal contact to him. Illegal contact to him when he receives the ball, when he tries to grab the ball. Okay, it is a normal foul. We can call it as a normal foul. If he receives the ball and moves ahead, and then I make a contact. So you have to understand the situation. There is no one within the range of the offensive player and the ring. There is no one. It is a clear fast break situation. During this situation, if after losing the ball control, I try to make any illegal contact from behind or from lateral side, it is an unsportsmanlike foul. Okay, they have just established that, stated that very clearly here. Okay, and they've told one more thing in this, like in the this is criteria 5. Criteria 5 states that whenever there is a contact, okay, whenever like in the last 2 minutes of the game, that is in the fourth quarter or in the extra time, when a throw-in happens, the referee handovers ball to the at the time of referee handovering the ball to the player taking the throw-in, if any defensive player makes illegal contact with the offensive player to prevent him from receiving the ball, that means it is a unsportsmanlike foul. Okay, so this is criteria 5. Okay, so they have given other criteria also. First criteria is that contact with an opponent with legitimately attempting to directly play the ball within the spirit of the game and intent of the rule. If that doesn't happen, it is an unsportsmanlike foul. Second criteria is excessive swinging. Okay, excessive swinging of elbow and making contact and excessive hard hitting on an opponent, it is a unsportsmanlike foul. Okay, then criteria 3 is unnecessary contact caused by a defensive player in order to stop the progress of the offensive player during transition. I just told you as it just given an example how it is done. Fourth criteria is that illegal contact caused by a player from behind or laterally from an opponent who is progressing towards the opponent's basket. This is also a sort of fast break situation, considering when a player goes on fast break and there is no one from him from ball to ring, I cannot make an illegal contact from behind until he starts his act of shooting. Okay. Once he starts his act of shooting, I make a contact from behind or lateral, it is going to be a normal foul. And before he starts his act of shooting, if I make such contact, it is going to be unsportsmanlike foul. The penalty for unsportsmanlike foul is like 2 free throws plus ball position. Okay, 2 free throws will be taken by a player against whom the unsportsmanlike foul was committed, and he will be taking 2 free throws, and the ball position will be given to the same team whose against the foul was happened, and the ball position will be given in the front court of the throwing line with shot clock 14 seconds. Okay, then whenever a player commits 2 unsportsmanlike foul or 2 technical foul or 1 unsportsmanlike foul and 1 technical foul, he will be disqualified from the remainder of the game. Okay, so earlier it was like a 2 unsportsmanlike foul or 2 technical foul. Now they have merged it. Either you fulfill the criteria by receiving 2 unsportsmanlike foul, 2 technical foul, or either one of them, you will be disqualified from remainder of the games. Okay, then comes scorer and assistant scorer timer's duty. So we could see earlier, like the duties of scorer and assistant scorer was huge. They had to do a lot of duties. They were the most busy officials on the table. So now a few of the duties were shifted from scorers to timer. That is like Article 48 and 48.2 has been deleted, and that those of duties has been assigned to timer. One is that whenever a foul is being called, so the timer will be indicating the individual foul by raising the particular foul number to both the teams and the spectators. Okay, and one more thing is that they will be marking the team foul. Okay, they will be marking the team foul that is kept in the corner of the table, which is visible to both the coaches, both the Team A and Team B's coaches. So these duties have been allotted to timer now. Then comes score sheet. So, like whenever a player is disqualified, whenever a player from the bench is disqualified, at that time we will write that against the coach as B2, and if the coach is disqualified, it will be written as D2. When there is changes on instant replay system IRS, so I don't know whether discussing this will be fair enough, like because in India, whatever tournament happens, apart from international tournament, we don't make use of IRS. The highest level of tournament in India is senior nationals, and even today in senior nationals, we have not been implemented this IRS system. So IRS is an instant replay system where after we give a decision which can be corrected through reviewing that particular decision. Okay, so there have been some changes added in this. So they have done that in 3 criteria here when this instant replay can be done. Okay, one is when at the end of the quarter or overtime, whenever there is successful field goal was released before the game clock signal has sounded for end of period or quarter, or whether how much time shall be displayed on the game clock when out of bound violation happens, a shot clock violation occurred. So at this time we are in confusion. In that case, we can go for IRS system. And second criteria is that when the game clock shows less than 2 minutes in the fourth quarter or in each overtime, whether the shot has been taken in a proper way, like before the signal sounded, at this time we can go for instant replay system. And at the last, during any time of the game, whether the field goal was 2 point or 3 point, and all to correct all this situation, we can go for IRS system. Okay. So earlier, whenever IRS was called, whenever IRS decision was called, only the crew chief will be the one who will be the crew chief will be announcing his final decision after reviewing the instant replay system. Now, along with the crew chief, there is like the official will be involved who participated in the decision. Okay, so like we all know that there are 3 officials on the floor. One is crew chief and umpire 1 and umpire 2. Okay, so we consider the crew chief to be head of the all 3 among the 3 officials. So whenever in case of dispute, the final decision will lie with a crew chief when whatever happens on the ground. So he will be in charge of the on field call. Okay. So when apart from crew chief, umpire 1 or umpire 2 is involved in a decision of IRS. Earlier, after reviewing the instant replay system, it was the crew chief who will be announcing the final decision. Okay. So now they have involved the official who actually called that decision. Okay. Along with the crew chief, the official who actually originally called the decision will be involved, and the final decision will be delivered by the same official who already decided during the call. Okay, so this what happened is it is not felt by the other official that crew chief is overruling that particular umpire's decision. So if I commit mistake, like if I make a decision and it is being reviewed, and any changes in that review, that will be delivered by me itself. Okay. So it is not that always the crew chief will be telling. I should not feel that someone is overruling me. Okay. So this is why this changes has been made. Okay. So this is all about the recent rule changes that happened in the last 2 changes that happened. One is 2018 and 2020. And before that, what happened is the rule change that happened in 2016. There were many significant changes. I didn't touch that because by now everyone will be aware of that legal steps taken during the during a layup, and all those things would have been accomplished by now. So I have just taken 2000 rule changes that happened in 2018 and 2020. That's all from me. Over to the presenter, please.
like starting in basketball, ball handling, new changes in starting the match, penalization, injury to the player, and entry of the team coaches and assistant coaches, fair play, movement in basketball, cylinder limit, dribbling stances, different defensive player entering into the offensive cylindric position can be penalized. You have explained about new rules changes in 2020, double foul in basketball, personal foul and unsportsmanlike foul, a penalty for the double foul and resuming the game after the double foul, criteria in basketball, and unsportsmanlike fouls in basketball, and penalty penalization, and duties of scorer and assistant scorer, Article 48, and regarding the score sheet, you have explained so many informative points. And IRS, it's very important. Instant replay system. It is used in highest level of tournaments, as you said. After the decision to reviewing the IRS is used, and overruling umpire decision is called as an IRS. And reviewing in basketball, so many new changes you have explained, sir. On behalf of Maharani Cluster University, Bangalore, PFI Karnataka, and all the participants, I thank for this enlightened session on recent changes in rules and regulations in basketball. It is very beneficial and informative for the physical education professionals, coaches, and players. Once again, thanks for your excellent presentation. Thank you, Vinod sir. And I acknowledge my thanks to Maharani Cluster University, Bangalore, and member associated to PFI Karnataka for conducting an extraordinary session on rules and regulations of different sporting event. Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
Sir, any questions you would like to ask? I think you can continue with it. Session, and I'm very happy to see that Vinod sir has given a detailed report about all the changes in the rules and regulations in basketball. I thank Dr. Rohan D'Costa and Mr. Vinod PG for being with us today. Now I call upon Dr. Ravi Kumar to propose the vote of thanks. Dr. Ravi.
Thank you, madam. Namaskar. Today we completed fourth day session of faculty development program conducted by Maharani Cluster University in association with PFI Karnataka chapter. I would like to thanks to Mr. Vinod PG, Sai coach, sharing and focus on rules and regulations and amended rules for 4-day session. It is enlightened very good way to our spectators, viewers, and physical education personnels. Thank you, Vinod. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
And also I thanks to our moderator today's Dr. Rohan D'Costa, Physical Education Director, Shivamogga, being a part of the session as a moderator. Thank you, Rohan. Thank you very much for your cooperation in conducting this event very successfully. We extend our thanks to Dr. Rani Sandhu, Physical Education Director, Malleshwaram Ladies Association, Bengaluru, for being part of this session as a moderator, extending her support and organizing this event successfully. Thanks. Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And also I thanks to my technical support team leader, Shri Srinivas, and FEFI General Secretary Shri Shrikant, and technical team Joy, Win, and all our viewers. Thank you, Anurag. Good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, one and all. Hope to see you tomorrow again at the same time on the 5th day of our faculty development program. Thank you.